morning, one and all present here, and welcome to our exhibition. Our team's topic is poverty and zero hunger, which stands as the first two goals of the Sustainable Development Goals. Manya will now take us to Goal 1, followed by Anjana, who will introduce Goal 2.
Thank you, Gorka. Why is Goal 1 important? This was this comic strip read by our whole team in class, and in my next slide, I will be showing some important points about it. Salient points. Everyone in the society is protected against things like unemployment and has access to support services like medical care. Social policies that help people who have less money to still have equal access to basic services. Build the resilience of people with less money so that they are better protected from climate-related extreme events. No poverty, why it matters. From this sheet, I will be telling some important points in my next slide. More than 700 million people, or 10% of the world population, still live in extreme poverty. 8% of employed workers and their families worldwide lived in extreme poverty in 2018. No poverty, continuation. Poverty has many dimensions, but its causes include unemployment, social exclusion, and high vulnerability of certain populations to disasters. Growing inequality is detrimental to economic growth and undermines social cohesion, increasing political and social tensions. To end extreme poverty worldwide in 20 years, economist Jeffrey Sachs calculated that the total cost per year would be about $175 billion. Now I will hand over the presentation to Anjana. She will be talking about Goal 2.
Goal 2, Zero Hunger. What is Goal 2? Goal 2 is a very important goal of the Sustainable Development Goals, Zero Hunger. What's the goal here to be achieved by 2030? To end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. Why is Goal 2 important? Lots of people in this world are dying without food and water. Adding on to this, the pandemic has created lots of homeless people who can't afford to have a meal a day. A profound change of the global food and agriculture system is needed to nourish today's 795 million hungry and the additional 2 billion people expected by 2050. Why should I care? I can't miss a single meal in a day. Imagine children and old people trying to live without food for multiple days. It's tough, isn't it? Exactly why my team and I care for this goal. Yasha will now take us through the inquiry.
Thank you, Anjana. Now I'll be talking about my experience when unpacking the central idea and lines of inquiry. When we first started, we all came up with keywords which suit the topic, and then using those keywords, we individually formed central ideas and then discussed it with the group. And then we also picked up words, phrases, and sentences from everyone's individual central ideas and made one final one, which is people have equal rights to have access to basic needs like food, clean water, shelter, and education. So the next day when we started framing our lines of inquiry, we first discussed about the key concepts and then decided 3 key concepts which suit the topic. And then we also discussed with the group what all of us would like to learn throughout the unit. And then we put all of that into order and made our lines of inquiry, which are effect of poverty, ways in which poverty has changed with time, responsibility towards reducing poverty and hunger. Now I would like to continue with my next presentation, Poverty in Karnataka. Poverty in Karnataka. Definition of poverty. Poverty is not having enough material possession or income for a person's needs. Poverty may include social, economic, and political elements. Absolute poverty is the complete lack of the means necessary to meet basic personal needs such as food, clothing, and shelter. Overview of Karnataka. Karnataka is a home to 61 million people, of whom 13 million or a little more than 1/5 are poor. The northern districts in the state are relatively poor as compared to the southern. The Raichur district is listed as the most backward district in India, as you can see in the picture. Large population concentration of SCs, scheduled castes, and STs, scheduled tribes, and Muslims, which has never been studied as the major cause of low development in the region. Poverty distribution over the state. Districts in the north and east of Karnataka have a very high poverty. You can refer to the color coding on the right bottom of the page. Government actions in reducing poverty. Central government action schemes and programs. From Jan Dhan to Jan Suraksha, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, and so on. State government action schemes and programs. Rural development schemes, interest-free home loan schemes, and etc. Poverty decline in state. A steady decline in poverty is both rural and urban areas of Karnataka since 1994. Conclusion. Poverty exists not because we can't feed the poor, but because we can't satisfy the rich. We live in a strange world where the poor walk miles to get food and the rich walk miles to digest. By concluding my presentation, I would like to say we don't need a reason to help the poor. Now Ishan would continue.
Thank you, Yasha. Effect of poverty in India. Hunger in India. State of hunger in India. According to FAO estimates in the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World 2019 report, 194.4 million people are undernourished in India. By this measure, 14.5% of the population is undernourished in India. Status of poverty in India. 44 Indians are escaping extreme poverty every minute as per the World Poverty Clock. India has been able to lift a significant percentage of its population out of poverty, but many still live in it. India had 73 million people living in extreme poverty, which makes up 5.5% of its total population, according to the Brookings report. India lifted 271 million people out of poverty in just a 10-year time period from 2005 to 15. Impact of poverty in India. As we know, poverty impacts children, individuals, and families in a variety of different ways. 2/3 of people in India live in poverty. 68.8% of the Indian population lives on less than $2 a day. Over 30% even have less than $1.25 per day available. They are considered extremely poor. Women and children, the weakest members of Indian society, suffer the most. The poor hygiene conditions are the causes of diseases such as cholera, typhus, and dysentery, in which especially children suffer and die. Now, Dia will continue on our LOI 2.
Thank you, Ishan. I will be talking about our second line of inquiry. Our second line of inquiry is how poverty has changed with time. Poverty in India. What is poverty? Poverty means not having enough food for basic needs such as food, clean water, shelter, education. Having a job does not guarantee a decent living. What caused poverty? Separation and selfishness causes poverty. If people around the world come together and aren't selfish, the world will become a better place. Of course, giving is essential, but it always goes to the corrupted governors who keep the money to themselves. Why is reduction of poverty important? Poverty is not something to hear and act like it didn't happen. Well, actually, poverty is something you need to worry about. So many people around the world are dying without any food, clean water, shelter, no education, and no proper healthcare, which leads to multiple life risks. The causes of poverty in India. The main causes of poverty in India are overpopulation and less productivity in agriculture. There are more, but these are the main two. Overpopulation. India is the second most populated country in the entire world. So we do have high poverty, less productivity in agriculture. Since we have so many people to feed in our own country, we cannot produce enough food to feed them. As an effect of those two reasons, the country finds it very difficult to feed its very own people. Now, Nishita will take us through poverty in a state of our own country called Maharashtra.
Thank you, Dia. Now I'll be explaining how poverty has changed with time in Maharashtra. How did poverty change over time? Maharashtra has its poverty index score of 47 out of 100 for the year 2018 and 2019. This means it is not even 50% close to reaching the goal by 2030. The highest score in India goes for Tamil Nadu. The complete country gets 50 as its score. Greater the score, better the reduction in poverty. Maharashtra presents the coexistence of both rich and poor at high levels. The poverty rate in the state is at 18%, which is close to the national average. This shows that the state has not managed to provide balanced growth to all its regions. This is a data showing the score of poverty in 2018 and 2019. Maharashtra has its score for 2019 and 2018 as 47. Our team's progress with the research. Our team's evidence. Our team's evidence needed to be really strong to show how it has changed over time, figuring out the research sources. We had split our jobs where we all would go and research about how poverty has changed over time and find links and sources on how it had changed over time, deciding our roles. After we got into our teams, we had to decide our roles. We decided that me and Manya would start over the PPT and Agrim would help us with the research. Fun facts. The largest slum in Mumbai is called Dharavi. It is home to about 1 million people. The poorest districts own only up to 25% of what people in the wealthiest districts do. Dharavi is Asia's biggest slum. Skills and learner profiles. The skills the learner profile we developed was reflective and thinking skills. We developed reflective since when we had got back, we had some research sources and we needed to explain how it was, so we needed to reflect back thinking skills. We needed strong evidence to show how it has changed over time and data and timelines and how it has changed over time throughout the year. Now I'll be handing over the presentation to Gaurika.
Thank you, Nishita. Now I'm going to be talking about how poverty has changed over time in Brazil. Brazil poverty line. Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics shows that more than 50 million Brazilians, nearly 25% of the population, live below the poverty line and have family incomes of Brazilian currency 387.07 per month, approximately US dollars 5.5050 a day. Has poverty status changed in Brazil? Brazil poverty rate of 2017 was 21%, a 0.3 increase from 2016. In 2017, the poverty rate increased to 25%. Now with COVID-19, we are not sure what will be the poverty status. Definitely the world is struggling and maybe Brazil will see similar increase in the poverty rate significantly. This is a poverty line trend. In 2007, the poverty rate was really high. It started getting lower and lower and now it's increasing again. Poverty trend. Poverty rose 33% in the last 4 years. A total of 6.3 million people have joined the poverty ranks. The average income was offset by the rising inequality. Causes of poverty in Brazil. Average income dropped 3.44% between 2015 and 2018. Rise in unemployment, unstable political leadership, the lack of technology and formal education and skills training have resulted in fewer employment opportunities. Brazil poverty future post-COVID. Poverty will increase, but nobody knows to what extent. Future measures to reduce poverty. Access to technology for all, education for all, and a stable political leader. Now I'm going to hand over the presentation to Ishan talking about the guest speaker.
Now I will talk about our experience with our guest speaker, Father Arun. Father Arun explained us what is poverty and hunger. He gave us many examples and told the causes of poverty and hunger. One of them is greediness. As people are greedy for being rich and they don't care about other people who don't have basic needs and they're poor. We also understand from the discussion the main reason of poverty and hunger, which is selfishness. Father Arun also told us about the types of hunger: acute hunger, chronic hunger, and hidden hunger. Acute hunger designates undernourishment over a definable period. It is the most extreme form of hunger and arises frequently in connection with crises like droughts due to wars and disasters. It often affects people who are already suffering from chronic hunger. That applies to almost 8% of all hungry people. Chronic hunger designates a state of long-term undernourishment. The body absorbs less food than it needs. Although the media mostly reports on acute hunger crisis, globally, chronic hunger is by far the most widespread. It usually arises in connection with poverty. Hidden hunger is a form of chronic hunger due to an unbalanced diet. Important nutrients are lacking, such as iron, iodine, zinc, or vitamin A. At first glance, the consequences are not very necessarily visible, but over a long term, these nutrition deficiencies lead to serious diseases, and the risk of death is high. People who are poor also suffer from war, natural disaster, and inequality.
I will now be talking about a teenager's bold idea to eradicate hunger. His name is 𝗓𝗓𝗄𝗏. Waste no food. Everybody knows all living things need food to live. 16-year-old 𝗓𝗓𝗄𝗏 is trying to fill the world's tummy. He has used technology to do that. In the picture is a picture of his app he has created. Points from the video. When you don't know when your next meal is coming from, it's all consuming. You can't focus on anything else. Using a global food app, any food donor who has excess food can donate it in under a minute using this mobile app. Now, Agrim, no matter the age, anybody can bring a change. Stop hunger now. Now, Agrim will talk to us about our third line of inquiry.
Thank you, Dia. Line of inquiry 3, responsibility towards reducing poverty and hunger. I did an individual research on the brain behind WFD, the World Food Day. Is celebrated every year around the world on 16th October. Proposed by FAO's member, the former Hungarian Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Paul Romani. The first World Food Day was celebrated in 1981 with theme Food Comes First. He discovered hidden hunger, a global problem. More than 2 billion people worldwide suffer from hidden hunger or micronutrition deficiency. More than 1 million children under 5 age die every year from vitamin A and zinc deficiency. Just think, while millions go hungry, 1.9 billion people, more than the quarter of the world's population, are overweight. 3.4 million people die each year due to overweight. Improvement in last 20 years. In past 20 years, children are dying of under the age of 5 and are cut to half. It means more than 10,000 children saved every day. Extreme poverty rates are cut to half. Great success. The 10 countries listed below achieved greatest success in reducing the total number of hungry people. Reasons why zero hunger changes the world. Zero hunger could save the lives of 3.1 million children a year. Zero hunger can help build a safer, more prosperous world for everyone. Way forwards. What can I do to help achieve zero hunger? Don't waste food, produce more with less, adopt a healthy and sustainable diet, and advocate for zero hunger. Now Jeevan will talk about Mother Teresa.
Thank you, Agrim. Now, I will speak about how did Mother Teresa fight poverty. Mother Teresa founded the Missionaries of Charity in 1950 to give a call for opening schools, colleges, home for the dying in Calcutta for the poor people and children. Food was never far from Mother, or more accurately, food's absence. When soldiers told her to go back, she insisted she needed food. So they gave her a sack of their own rice and took her back. Mother Teresa is regarded as the mother of the poor people. She felt the suffering and poverty she glimpsed outside made a deep impression on her when she was in convent, and she took permission from her superiors to leave the convent and devote herself to working among the poorest of the poor in the slums of Calcutta. She had no funds. She started an open air school for slum children. She fought poverty as an evil, going on into filthy streets to serve. She knew that there are three kinds of poverty: material, spiritual, and virtue of poverty. She fought hard against the first two and practiced the third with a kind of holy perfection. Teresa received number of honors: Raman Magsaysay Peace Prize and Nobel Peace Prize for her service towards ending poverty. She was also honored with Padma Shri and Bharat Ratna from the government of India. I will now share my reflection on how can I reduce food wastage. Preparing food consumes a lot of natural resources like water, land, fruits, vegetables, cereals, pulses, dairy products, oil seeds, time, and energy. Wasting food is wasting natural resources about one third of the food globally is wasted. As a student, I would consume the food that is left over. I would give food to the poor and needy to eradicate hunger. And I would suggest people not to waste food by explaining positives and negatives. Now, Manya will now share a reflection on reducing food wastage.
My reflection on the article of food wastage. How reducing food saves money. Making a new dish out of the leftovers. Preserve things before they go bad. Buy less fresh produce that will go bad. Means don't buy fruits and vegetables just because they are on sale. How can I reduce wastage of money? If I go to the mall, I will always buy the things that I need instead of buying what I want. This way, I can save money and help the poor. Cook meals at home instead of going to the restaurant every day. Don't buy the clothes just because they are on sale. Now I hand over the presentation to Nishtita. She will be talking about how COVID-19 has impacted the migrant workers.
Thank you, Manya. Now I'll be presenting how COVID-19 has affected migrant workers. This is a race of COVID-19 around the world. All across India, lakhs of migrant workers at state borders. $40,000 massive evacuation upon migrants head out of Delhi. This is a migrant family pins to hope on 5 full charge mobiles to reach Gangavati. Raju and his family have head out of Bangalore to their hometown Gangavati with 5 full charged phones and using one. When they head out of Bangalore around at 8:30 a.m., Raju said to the Times of India under the Electronic City flyover, hoping that he will find a car, truck, or anything heading towards his hometown, Gangavati. He had left with 1,500 rupees and used 750 for masks, Since we all are in the lockdown, now all the animals are coming on the streets. These are other add-ons on how it has affected migrant families. This restaurateur goes feeding hungry souls stranded on the streets. He is one of my inspiration. He has distributed 3,000 food packets in just 6 days and continues doing that. Now I hand over the presentation to Gaurika.
Thank you, Nishita. Now I'm going to be talking about how COVID-19 has affected daily wages in India. Nationwide lockdown, a blessing or a disaster. On 26th of March, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ordered a 21-day nationwide lockdown in response to COVID-19 pandemic, followed by 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0 extensions. Who are the daily wagers? A person who gets money for his work daily, such as a construction worker. No fixed jobs or earnings. 39 crores daily wages in India. Daily wages go back to their villages. India on a lockdown, but thousands on the move. Was the lockdown purpose solved? Because of panic, no food, no job, all the daily wages crowded the streets, bus stands. The crowding can further increase the COVID transmission. Impact of COVID on daily wages. Loss of daily income, no food for families, no means to earn a living anymore with the 21-day lockdown and its extensions going on. Will daily wages fate impact India? Daily wages compress 80% of the workforce, and if something happens to them due to COVID, then who will drive India forward? Now I'm going to hand over, will hunger kill first or COVID? Now I'm going to hand over the presentation to Agrim.
Thank you, Gaurika. How we created a summative task and action. We discussed on ways we can take action keeping in mind the scenario of the lockdown. We combined our action and summative task. Our summative task was doing house chores to understand their daily work, and action to raise funds to help them by donating through school support. Why this action? With this lockdown, daily wages and people below the poverty line will be suffering even more. We want to help them. This has led to change in their income too. Some are even dying out of hunger. By helping them, we want to be responsible Candorians. Now Anjana will take over.
Action. What is the action we took? The action we took was by helping our parents to do their work and earn some money by donating it to the poor. This became our action and summative task too. Why did we choose this action? We chose this action because all of us found it effective in spite of the lockdown. This also benefited our parents with the chores while we took up this responsibility. Glimpse of our action. My personal challenges. Once when I cut the vegetables, I cut my finger too. Most of the time I don't do the work properly and I mess up. Yet we continued with our best effort to contribute to the cause. The skills I developed. I developed thinking, social, and self-management skills while keeping in mind the cause behind it. The learner profiles I developed. I became an open-minded person, risk taker, an inquirer, and a balanced person by managing all my chores. And with this action, we have raised 10,000 rupees, and we are donating our funds to Mount St. Joseph community, who are doing a splendid job in supporting the needy during this tough time. And these are the websites we referred to for our research. With this, we come to the end of our presentation, and I would like to take this opportunity by introducing my team members and concluding with their quote. First, I call upon Manya.
I believe in conserving food and saving lives.
Jeevan.
Stop hunger, stop poverty. Will you join us to reduce poverty?
Gorka.
I believe that no poverty is freedom for all.
Ishan.
Let's get hands together to end poverty and hunger.
Dia.
No matter the age, anybody can bring a change. Stop hunger now.
Agrim.
Fight poverty, not the poor.
Nishtita.
The poor need a friend to bring poverty to an end.
Yasha.
Poverty is the worst form of violence.
And myself, Anjana. We rise by helping others. Manya will now deliver the vote of thanks.
I would like to thank one and all present in this presentation for being a wonderful audience. I would like to thank the school management, our mentors, and everyone who supported us through this wonderful journey. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe. Dear parents, now we are open for questions.
Thank you, students, for a wonderful presentation. I'm sure all of us do understand how important it is to get rid of poverty and hunger. Dear parents, please do post your questions on the chat, or do raise your hand choosing the reactions icon to ask your questions. Okay, we have Miss Rekha stating, wonderful effort by children. They sounded like junior economists backing their research with data. Thank you so much, Miss Rekha. It surely means a lot, and they really did a wonderful research to get their data. Miss Babita says, good job, kids. Please ensure you take your thinking forward. What do you say, team? What do you say to Miss Babita? Will you?
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you. Miss Vaishnavi says, well done, kids. Thank you, Miss Vaishnavi. Mr. Saurabh says, the presentation was wonderful effort by all the students. It was really informative. Thank you, Mr. Saurabh. We have a question by Miss Taranum. Why is poverty and hunger a very important topic and problem to address? Students, would anyone want to answer this?
Miss, I would like to answer.
Yes, Jeevan, go on.
Uh, Miss, Miss, what should I answer about, Miss?
Why is poverty and hunger a very important topic and problem to address?
Miss, poverty and hunger is a very important topic for us to help the poor, and we might we might also help the poor by uh, by uh, by by just helping them to by just helping them to help their kids to get
Right.
to school. And
Thank you, Jeevan. Would anyone else want to answer too? Yes, Dia, what about you?
Miss, I think I'm good.
All right. Um, Ms. Anvita says, wonderful research, truly inspirational. Thank you, Ms. Anvita. Mr. Dhruvan says, outstanding presentation and very well orchestrated and organized. I agree on junior economist part. Thank you so much, Mr. Dhruvan. Ms. Rekha wanted to ask if the children considered giving up a meal to really understand the meaning of hunger. I think we can't fully comprehend the extent of problems until we experience it. Yes, Ms. Rekha, I'm sure they would surely want to try a meal, missing a meal, and experience what hunger actually is. Mr. Chandrasekhar says hearty congratulations to the entire team. Ms. Rupa says, well done, kids. Very informative presentation related to the present situation across the country. I appreciate your effort and hard work. Ms. Gauri says, great job, all of you. Thank you, Ms. Gauri.
Ms. Meenakshi, may I say something to the students?
Yes, sure, Ms. Anvita, sure.
Yes. So wonderful. We are all saying, including the parents, that wonderful job. Very good research all of you have done. And I like the way you presented the entire, your research. And I am sure that, with the kind of work you have done, with the kind of knowledge and understanding you have gained, when you come back to school, we can take this forward from the work that you have done. We can take this forward and we can start working on this and trying to give back to society, trying to do something for people. I would want to go back to the question that was asked by Ms. Rekha, and I want the students to answer that. Would you like to give up a meal to see what hunger feels like? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Have you ever been hungry? Have you ever experienced being hungry when you're really, really hungry?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are times when all of us feel very hungry. But then before we go, before you get sick because you're hungry, you get food because, we come from backgrounds where we don't go hungry because we don't have food to eat, but because maybe we've gone out or something like that. But there are people, even as we speak, who are hungry, not because they've gone out or they want to play extra or they've got delayed somewhere. It's because they can't afford to buy a meal, and that's where poverty comes in. So when you come back to school, we will discuss this further, but very well done, very meaningful research that you all have done. Wonderful. I'm very proud of all of you. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Anvita. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss.
All right. So with this, I think all of us can sign off. Thank you, parents, for being wonderful audience. Thank you, Ms. Anvita. Thank you, each and everyone.
Thank you,
Ms. Shivani.
Meenakshi. And I would like to congratulate all of you for this wonderful presentation. And you've implemented all the changes that we've suggested, and it came out really well. Thank you, Ms. Meenakshi, for organizing it so well. And all the students, congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, before we thank you, and before we go Oh, we have Madhavi here also. Miss Madhavi, want to say something to the students?
Sure, Miss Madhavi. Yes.
I wonder if she's still here. I did see her online.
Yeah.
Miss Madhavi? Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon, students. And it's really nice to hear you all have done you've done such in-depth research into it, and you've gotten all the data out. And I really have to say that your presentation is wonderful. And congratulations on picking such a topic. I know poverty and hunger, and when we see a lot of kids experience it, it's not just the adults, a lot of kids around the world experience it. It's nice that you have picked this topic and you have learned so much from it, and I would like you all to keep this in your mind and your future, to see how you can put it in action to, at least get down this, to maybe we may not be able to eliminate it completely, but we can work towards reducing it to a lot of extent. That would be a good goal to have. And good work by all of you. And thank you, teachers, for helping them all, and parents.
Thank you so much, Ms. Madhavi. Your words mean a lot to all of us, and we surely will keep in our mind and carry forward with the same intention. Thank you so much, parents. Students, please stay back. Don't sign out. Thank you. Have a great day. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you, parents. Thank you.